September 29th. It is the last Monday of September and also the last Monday of the third quarter. And here we are. Hopefully everyone's feeling good. It's been a day. Feels like it's always been a day. These days are long. Anyway, take a look at disclosure. Let's get to it. My name is Scott Redler. I'm the Chief Strategic Officer of T3Live.com. Welcome to today's recap look ahead. Can you guys see me on the VTF Alpha team? Yes or no? Lucas, use the force. Yes, everyone sees me. Okay. Well, you can see I'm a little tired. My hair's receding. You guys are killing me. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, look what we have up here. So this is Bitcoin. Um, I was just talking to everybody saying how, listen, I know that we were buying the IBIT calls last week. I think the 67s for mid-October for November, kind of anticipating we would get some kind of move like this to wake it up. I wasn't sure if it would happen in a week or two. It happened now. This should help, you know, continue to rebuild this process. Like I'm not just going out and buying the IBIT now because I have still a lot of options. I would love it to hang in here a little bit now and then continue. And then there's going to be another trade above 117. There's going to be a trade, up to here at some point. There's a whole void, from when this red dog reversal happened to here. So, if you're in this trade because we bought it really well, congratulations. This is the type of trade I usually don't do, but I kind of have conviction. I've been, doing this type of trade through October, November, many different times. So anyway, we'll see what happens here, moving forward. I did sell some. Everyone's like, well, Red Dog, it's going to all-time highs. I'm like, I get it, but Red Dog is a squirrel, and I collected a few nuts, and I got to get them away, right? So, only that many acorns will fall off the tree. So, I trimmed a little bit of this. Actually, I trimmed two little things of this, and then this one I trimmed a little bit. Why? Because it was up a nice amount. I wasn't expecting it to be like a Bitcoin weekend. So anyway, and I'll buy on dips. So that's that. Someone asked me to take a look at Ethereum. I did not go back to Ethereum yet. I probably should have. Maybe it starts to prove it could hold here a little bit better. You have a bit of a big gap up. You have a nice 2-day move that puts it back on the map. It's still nowhere. So, yeah, Ethereum is one of the, was a leading indicator for a while, and then it corrected, and it still, looks pretty good. So I would like to get involved, but I wasn't just going to buy this today for what could be a little bit of a retracement tomorrow. Not in a rush. Plus, it's the end of the month, end of the quarter, and I want to keep my money. I don't want any, I don't need don't need any problems. But this doesn't, this probably fills the gap. Looks good, and then some. So, ain't so bad. Ain't so bad. And what did it do? But it didn't show any relative strength. Like this got below the 50-day, and the spies and the Qs were at the 21-day. So that's why I didn't go back to it. Yeah, then you have the treasury name. So I sometimes just, depending on my mood, I do certain things. A lot of, this was my focus, this BMNR, and I kind of screwed up the trade when I was getting it in here, and I think I got out on this day. I made this little 3-day move. This was the day that like 10 other things announced like a treasury. I'm like, I'm done with this. And then that happened. Or it was right here. Whatever it was, I just didn't go back to it. But I made a lot of money in SBET, during this move, right from here up. So I'm like, you know what? I'll buy some of these options. Someone from the Alpha team was saying that the October 30 somethings were the $20 calls were like lighting up, and they've raised a lot of extra money in here. That's why it didn't perform like the other ones, and hopefully they're done. And it's tight. This is tight. This is when you want to buy something a month out, just in case it goes. So I bought some of that. And I'm going to expand my crypto portfolio. Don't worry. Don't worry. I'm going to be doing more things. Anyway, let's go to Mega Cap Tech. Tesla was tricky today. Not the end of the world. I'm actually kind of happier that it did a doji versus a topping tail. It went fast. It got above this area right here. And you had to really trim into it. I trimmed my options into it just because, and I bought some stock prior to the pivot, and then sold some, and then I just bought some back. And this setup's not as clean as it was now, unfortunately. I like when it's tight, and I like when there's an area where like I can buy it through that and make $5. That's what I said this morning we could do, and you could have done it. Um, and now I guess we'll see. There's a rebuild here and hold this little spot. All in all, it does look like it's on its way back towards the all-time high area. You just have to, know your pricing and your timing and how you're getting paid. All right. Hmm. So someone asked me, like, why you and Amazon shares, it's kind of broken. Today was the first day that Amazon acted better, and I've been watching it for a while because I've lost a lot of money in Amazon in the last month, ever since in here broke down. Just felt a little bit different, felt a little stickier. So maybe there's a trade here, so I have some shares. But if you remember when ASTS broke and we all got out of it here, this was when I got out of it, and it was a little, or maybe in here, a little late. When it was down here, I'm like, you know what, it feels stickier. Well, let me just play a bounce to here. Meanwhile, it went to there. So, this area, just sometimes it's a different trade. It's sometimes like I'm going to buy it in here for it to go back and just even retest where it broke down from, which is all I was thinking about for that. So for Amazon, I'm like, you know what? I don't think I'm not going to lose all my money in those 240s, but it could go back to here. So, and it felt like it was strong enough for that. So that's why I went back to Amazon today. Microsoft's building looks pretty good. Got above 514, just wasn't ready to take out 519. It's still tough. It's still like, it was up $3 or first thing in the morning, and then ended up $3. And if you overtraded it today, you overtraded it. Amazon was a good trade. Good day. Guess my best trade was actually MSOS today. I'll tell you why. But anyway, what did Meta do today? Nothing. You could just bring that down. I heard Netflix had a nutty day. Look at that loose and wide candle. That's tough. What Google do today? Probably, I bet you they sold strength, which they did. Stock needs time. So Apple, I think, is a little bit more interesting. Apple, look at this nice bull flag now. It was weaker all day. My friends were long it, like, Red Dog shorted because it can't go up. I'm like, why would you tell me to short your stock? I'm like, just give it some time. Anyway, I bought some 257s thinking that maybe, it gets ready to go soon. Looks pretty good. Looks really good, actually. So you got to just have some perspective on, when it's going to go. NVIDIA, I kind of, I made good money and then I gave it back most of the day. Just kind of got up here, and they don't want it to go yet. They don't want it to break above this 184.50. I bought some 187.50 calls just in case I don't have enough shares or I'm not on my desk when they're allowed to re-enter China or whatever they're probably going to be doing soon. So I'm in some stock and I'm in some options, and we'll see. We'll see. I'm not in any other semis. I probably could have stayed with Intel. I just didn't. Just because I was cleaning some stuff up. You now have this. I might, get into it again. I'm just not in it right now. Still, big move from here to there. Came in, looks good. It's not acting special. But listen, are you in the anticipation game or are you in the let's go when it has a day one game? Sometimes you can make a lot more money in the anticipation game if you're right. If you're not right, it hurts. Like the IBIT was an anticipation game that we could have continued down for 2 more weeks and I would have lost on the whole front end of the IBIT trade. Instead, it turned out to be a great trade. So if you're in the anticipation game, you're going out and you're buying like some 150, 160 calls, but you're hopefully giving yourself enough time. And then when it triggers, then you're at least you're watching it, and you're engaged, and then you can go. Anyway, what AMD do? I don't know. I don't really watch AMD that much anymore. It looks fine. Just be careful buying strength in AMD. But it's got like an inside channel here. Yeah, it looks all right. I in Baba Land, look at that. Came to the 8-day and then boom, look at that gap. Baba to me just cost me way too much time and effort. So I really haven't been spending that much time on JD. Every time it's down a dollar, I buy more options. Every time it's up a dollar, I sell some, and I've been just trading it that way. This obviously has been much more of a money trade. We had it down here. I got away from it. Sorry, but still looks pretty good. Can't complain. If you sold the topping tail here and you bought the 8 day, you're making money. Someone showed me Baidu. Baidu's pretty tight. Maybe I think I probably should have done it today, but it would make sense to buy like 140 calls, go out a week or two. Nice upper wedge. The weekly chart still looks good. Where do we say it can go? I say it can go to the 155 area. Hey. But I'm not in it anymore, so adding a token gets you uptown, or at least makes everybody else money that's in it. So it still has some room here. It looks pretty good on the daily and the weekly. JD's doing better. I'm not upset about it because I'm making money there. JD actually looks like a real, like ready to go. It's finally above the moving averages. It finally closed strong. Looks like it could take out this 3605, see 38. Probably should be in some of the shares too. But anyway, most bullish flow today was Oracle, Apple, and Nvidia. All right, this looks good. It's looking nice. I just bought a little shares just to have. 1,000 shares or something. Let's see this. I bought a little tiger with Fib. He bullied me. Fibonacci always bullies me. He feels better when I'm in it with him. Okay. Yeah, it could have been. That's why people are kind of decent day one, I guess. Yeah, it could be. That could have spurred some buying, so maybe it'll be in the deliveries. So that would be helpful. I'm still trying to, navigate Rivian a little bit. I rolled up some options. If you remember, we were buying options down here, and I sold them, and now I rolled them up a little bit. Bearish flow. What else? QS. Not a great candle. That's why I'm not in the stock. I'm just buying some options into here. This is going to need, a catalyst. It's going to need another piece of news for it to get better. So just know that. So give yourself enough time. Same thing with this UMAC. UMAC actually was better than QS. Building. Hopefully they get a piece of the drone contracts. That would be nice. MSOS. Look at that. Actually, that's all it was today. Nice candle, good volume. Probably has at least room to 602, if not to fill that gap now. A lot of names in this group did really well, like that Tilray. Look at that move. As long as they don't announce. Remember I told you my friend Glenn had like 100,000 of this or more. Anyway, looks good. ACB. Ooh, it's coming into like a big area too. Yeah, this is interesting. Probably the size of the volume it had today. Like you can see the volume over here. Let's go, ACB. Look at that volume. It's a lot of volume. Last time it had this much volume. Ooh, it's a big level. Probably worth taking some if you think this group's going to continue. Hood. I lost money in Hood last week. Anywho, it's stuck in the, imagine it did this when we were doing the buy and balance. Why couldn't this do the buy and balance? Anyway, nice move. Remember that? Jeez. Anyway, Galaxy, someone asked me. Looks good, I think. Held where it had to. Putting a nice upper flag. Put this like this now. Looks good. Galaxy Digital. Lulu. I don't think anyone wears spandex anymore. Maybe by Lulu. No. Look at that. It looks like it could fill this gap, I guess. Some broken bounce rate. I think some influencers did something with them. I heard it right. Maybe. Nike had a broken bounce after getting crushed and crushed and crushed. I remember someone was asking me about this down here. And I was like, yeah, we can get a broken bounce. So I ended up giving a decent sized broken bounce. So this, I'm just saying, so Lulu, I guess can. It's not going out of business. It's just not in the right spot right now. A lot of influencers are making the exact same type of stuff for like a fraction of the cost. Yeah. Anyway, oh shit. All right, guys, listen. Only a few days left, in this month. Don't screw it up. And the quarter. We'll see what tomorrow brings. Still have the news flow around, you know, uh, the government shutting down and this and that. Um, you know, so if it happens and we go lower for a day or two and then they go back, it would be a bad timing. So just know that you don't change your style based on the end of the month or the quarter. Just make sure you're not too extended where you don't screw things up if you could use yourself a nice paycheck. Anyway, with that said, I'll see you guys in the morning.